Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to another edition of the B-Ball Breakdown Live Show, coming at you on a Tuesday. As always, joined by Andrew Combo Salop. Combo, what's hanging, my man?
All is well. How are you, Coach Nick?
I'm good. I'm battling. I'm hiding from COVID, and it's attacking me from all sides. But I've managed to be negative one more time, so we're hanging in there. The wife has got it. My daughter just had it. It's closing in. Does it feel that way for you?
Yeah, a lot of people that I'm close to have got it recently, and it's definitely spreading.
Yeah. So be careful out there. I don't know if everyone's going to probably end up getting it, but I want to be the last guy in the country to not have gotten it. That's going to be my claim to fame. So,
Me and you both. So
I got to tell you, I'm feeling every freaking symptom at this point that you can have, and wondering. Like, even I feel like it's my chest tight and my throat going. I don't know.
I'm actually reading this book called The Expectation Effect, and you could actually get symptoms from placebo.
Listen, every time I go to the gym and coach now, and I've been doing it, I keep my mask on the whole time. As soon as I walk, I told you this. As soon as I walk out, I feel like I have COVID, like just in there. So it's going to happen. And you've already gotten it once, right?
No,
you have never gotten it. That's right. You say okay.
Not that I know of.
All right. Well, I don't want to make this into like a competition, but we could see who gets it first.
Hey, Coach Nick, not everybody knows this about you. You're really competitive. I mean, I am as well, but you compete over everything.
I am. Listen, it's all I have left because I'm not playing anymore. I mean, I play tennis, but I try to play tennis, whatever that's called. But at any rate, yeah. Listen, it's built in. We're wired certain ways, and I certainly like. By the way, that's kind of an interesting thing because I'm so focused now on when I coach. Sort of trying to channel like the positive, emotional intelligence of coaching, but you can't help but like have that seep in, right? If you are competitive, it's going to seep in a little bit. But then again, you probably are going to, shape your team based on how the other people react to certain situations. They might kind of reflect you anyway when you're bringing them in, I guess, right?
Does it lead to perfectionism when it comes to the videos and maybe harping on something that you don't need to harp on because you want the best videos and you're a really competitive person?
No, I really feel seen. There's no question that I'm not that organized necessarily, but when it comes to very specific things and certainly even being the perfectionist, yes, it's like when that kind of stuff happens, it's like a frame, the way we want to, move the screen around to focus on something. Yes, all that stuff I get really maybe it's a competitive thing. I want it to be as good as it can possibly be, and a lot of times you end up spinning your wheels, maybe taking too much time. It's tough, man, especially in what I'm doing because there's a time frame for when these have to go out, like during the season.
Details matter. That's what makes the work come to life. Like even sometimes when people might not see it, all those details combined really make somebody's art come to life.
So glad you said that. Absolutely. And it's funny because, again, I might not be the most I could be unaware of things going around me when I'm focused on different things. So when I walk into a gym, for some reason, basketball specifically is the kind of thing that's so stimulating to me that I can pick out like footwork that might need to be fixed from like 125 feet away on the other side of the gym, where I might not realize where my keys are or something like that. So there's something about basketball in particular that I kind of that gets my nervous system flowing properly. So it's interesting.
Most definitely.
I suppose you feel the same way
in terms of
basketball and what it does for your focus, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think basketball is the one thing while I'm playing that I'm not thinking about what I'm going to do next, right? Like I'm totally focused on the task at hand, not what I have to do after, not what I did before. I'm totally in the moment. Mm-hmm. And people around you will tell me I'm a super competitive person myself.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because there's also that can overwhelm you and affect your play as well. So I certainly think that if you can channel that properly, then yes, everything goes away. All the worries and the issues and the problems you might have in your life can just be blocked out for that time. And you can just flow and play and find that.
Yeah. Flow is the right word because it's called flow state. When you're in the moment, when you're concentrating on one thing, that is what flow state is.
Yeah, I wasn't like that in high school. I had smoke coming out of my ears. I was insane. I would just, I just played like too hard. You know what I mean? In a way. And I finally, toward the end of high school, like my senior year, and then into college, playing, channeled more of that energy into a more positive way, and it really helped my game. So it's great. Like I love to be able to help the kids now as freshmen in high school to understand how that approach. because when I was growing up, which is a little bit before you, like the only thing we had to do was you had to like play as hard as you possibly could for every split second you were out there. No subtlety, no change of pace. It was just, completely, I don't know, I guess we could say balls to the wall. And that is detrimental. It's not the way the best players play. And, the skill, and to the detriment of the skill. I feel like I probably thought I was going to outwork everybody versus outskill everybody. And no one would have worked harder than I would have on skills if I would have done those. But I did some of the stuff, and I was always trying to improve my handle, whatever. But no, I never had that sense of, oh my God, I got to do my finishing package. I need to finish, I have to have these 3 different shots in there, dribble move here.
Yeah.
We were winging it back then.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the finishing package stuff, because I think that's something that's not focused on enough, and it just makes your life so much easier just having different finishes around the lane. I know I'm changing the subject slightly, but we rep out jump shots all the time, and everybody works on their handle. But that's one thing that I don't see as much repping out when it comes to that finishing package. It's so important from right at the basket and around the basket, and the different moves to evade the help before you get there. And to your point, like the best players, to go back a little bit, it doesn't really look like they're playing absolutely hard all the time. They have a little bounce to their game. They play with pace. It looks effortless. And the best players usually play like that.
Right. I can't remember really when I was growing up in 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, working on finishing. I know we did drills where you would lay the ball up, in like a 3-on-3 or 3-on-2, 2-on-1 or
100%.
3-man weave. All the things that are just completely worthless for basketball training. But I guess we can't say it completely worthless, but like there's a lot better drills to do. But I remember when I got to my senior year, I all of a sudden just started struggling around the rim. I couldn't finish layups. Everything was just weird. I couldn't get comfortable at all.
Yeah.
So, but part of that was, I never spent 30 minutes going over, okay, I'm going to go left, right off both feet and off the glass. And I'm going to go right, left, offhand, like whatever. We didn't have any of that kind of organization, understanding. And it's really too bad, because I think I would have eaten that up, I think, back then. And by the way, people must have been doing it because there were guys who really finished well. But for some reason, there was a big gap in whatever I was trying to learn, and some people teaching me. I never got it. And I think I would have been that guy who would have just completely, went off the deep end working on that stuff. So anyway, I'm looking forward to getting back in the gym on Wednesday. It's actually tomorrow, and going over some finishing stuff. I got some cool stuff to do with my one guy out there. So anyway, let's talk a little bit. Now, first of all, if you want your comment up on the screen, as always, the best way to do it is to do a super chat over on YouTube, if that's where you are. That'll help us keep the show going. And by the way, I just wanted to shout out TJ Edwards. It's a very nice comment in there. You can't see the comments, can you?
I cannot.
Well, he says, thanks for the video. You know what? Let's put him on the screen because it's a very nice comment. Because of your breakdowns, I understand basketball so much better. Now I'm leading a group of ballers in my church. That's awesome to hear. I hear this often, and it makes me feel terrific that people can, glean what I'm trying to offer and take it somewhere else and they make it their own.
Big time impact, Coach Nick. Big time impact.
Yeah. And then Josiah wants to know if I saw on Thinking Basketball, the Ant-Man was in the 90th percentile in acceleration and deceleration on there. I wonder how they measured that, but yeah, there's no question. Anthony
P3, yeah, P3 does those kind of testing, and I think that's what he's alluding to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, Anthony Edwards, obviously the testing tells you all you need to know, but when you watch him on a basketball court, you could also tell that just from the eye test that he's an elite level athlete. I would argue he's probably one of the best NBA athletes ever.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, I've already made the point that he might end up being the Michael Jordan 2.0. Like, forget the other guy. This guy, he will not be named in vain. But I think this guy with a movement pattern that he exhibits reminds me maybe physically a little bit more like a Clyde Drexler on appearance because he's bigger that way, but the explosion is a lot like Michael Jordan. And I totally get that. And as long as he is, and it looks balanced and fluid. So I don't anticipate him being like, an injury machine like some of these guys are. And you could tell a lot of times you see a lot of issues with the chain and how their, knees are valgus with the knees or other, things like that you could see that could be a problem with their, with injuries. I don't see it with this guy. This guy seems like he's is he on track to be the MVP next year?
I think it's going to be Luka, and then he'll be in the mix the year after, in my opinion. That's what I've always said.
Did you see the Luka picture just recently? How thin he looks?
Man, he looks like he's rookie Doncic, like when he was waiting in the green room.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it looks great. I mean, not really cut per se necessarily, but like just trim, and that's going to be huge, right? Like, what do you always say about him in the beginning of the seasons?
Yeah, I mean, him, Anthony Davis, James Harden, it doesn't seem like they take the off seasons as seriously as they should.
Whoa, you're going to light up Anthony Davis and put him in that conversation?
I think he's in that conversation, don't you?
I don't know.
Did I light him up? I think it's like kind of self-apparent, right?
Wow.
I mean, apparent.
I mean, listen, Harden, we can see it. I don't necessarily see Anthony Davis coming in like bloated and heavy, right?
I mean, he doesn't look like his old self. The biomechanics don't look quite right.
Okay.
He's not moving the same. He's moving more like a big, and before he moved more like a wing big, I would say.
Yeah.
So I think things are changing with him. But I do see a lot of pictures and posts of him working this summer.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it all comes out.
I mean,
on the
I
court.
I was going through the Russell Westbrook stuff for the video I did that people seem to enjoy. And I caught a couple of Anthony Davis spills to the floor. And it's like the guy spends almost as much time on the floor as he does on the, playing the game. And when you watch how he does that, like he gets in these weird positions, he gets off balance, he's stepping around guys he shouldn't, he's just not aware spatially of where the other people are, where their feet are. And so he needlessly just crashes to the ground. That's just going to ultimately, that wear and tear is going to catch up to you. And it certainly seems to have every year for him now. And I don't know if he can overcome that. At this point, he's solidified himself. That's how he is. It's too bad.
It is too bad, and they better be competitive this year because there's talks that LeBron could be out of there.
Go on.
Well, there are some people that are saying that they're not signing certain places to keep certain players to keep their cap space open for a possible return for LeBron James. Now, LeBron hasn't indicated that this will happen, but some are pointing to the signs of some of the Cavs' actions at this point.
So you think the Cavs might get him back again?
There's a chance.
That would be crazy. I mean, listen, we all know that he wants to play with Bronny, and Bronny still has a senior year of high school.
He might play with both of them the way they're both looking.
Now, did I see this right? Did Bryce go from like 5'6" to 6'6" in less than a year?
Yeah, and he's looking sharp on the court.
And he's not like gangly, and he's like still coordinated?
Yeah. Looks pretty good on the court. And I mean, Bronny has been improved immensely. Like his trajectory has changed over the past few months. Like he's just looked a lot more polished than he did the past. Always a smart player, always had great feel, but the athleticism and the shooting has got better, and he just looks more polished. And man, I mean, I think he's going to be an NBA player.
Okay. So, but again, we talked about this before. The notion of LeBron wanting to be, I think he'll be a free agent going into that summer. And so now you got to figure out if he's a free agent and he wants to go to play with Bronny, then whoever has the number one pick has to make a decision. Do they take him knowing they also get LeBron, which is, I would probably do that in this heartbeat, especially if I'm a team that's been losing.
Well, if he's a projected, like, let's say late first round pick, it's kind of a crazy move. But if he's a lottery pick, I mean, it's a no brainer, right? Like, let's say he's projected to go 10th. You definitely take him number one.
Okay. Now, so if he's 25th, you wouldn't take him first?
Well, you got to think about it a little bit more, but I would probably still take him.
I think so too. I mean, it depends. If I'm like a team that's at 10 or 12 straight year, like if I'm the Kings and I haven't been in the playoffs for a decade and can't get anything going, like, why not do it? Like that would be fun. So we'll see. I'm going to go see him. In fact, he plays out here in LA. I'm going to go try and catch a game. I guess probably for Sierra Canyon when he's playing in high school. Because I want to see it up close and personal for sure and get a handle on what he really is at this point. Because, it's hard to see. I was watching some clips of somebody else, doing really, really well in this, somewhere in Vegas. And it's like, I'm trying to look at the competition and it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. Like that doesn't look like it might be elite competition. And so now, we got to get some better players out there to figure out what he can do.
Sometimes you see it. Honestly, it sounds crazy, but sometimes it's an easier eval at some of those things than college basketball. The way college basketball is so murky and cluttery and everybody's always banging into each other and there's no flow to the game. Sometimes you could see somebody's talent in an open style AAU pace than even college. So I mean, I think you got to like look through all of that and just look at the talent and see what he's doing.
Well, I will say this: if you're going to be, if you're playing an AAU with the high school level and you want to be like an elite college player, you're going to stand out. Like, yeah, and if you don't stand out, that's going to be strange. And obviously, you're probably not that guy then. So the bottom line is, yeah. So that you can certainly take. You know, if the guy is going to really look head and shoulders above everybody else and at that level, then that's what you're going to take from that. Even if and I totally get it. The college thing becomes, I don't know. We don't have to talk about college anymore. I'm so frustrated by the college game generally. But you know what? That'll be my mission this year. I want to find a college team I really like who plays in a modern style, who plays it open. I'm going to find that team. Maybe you'll help me find them, and we'll become fans.
Yeah, most definitely. And also, they need to change the rules to make it like in Europe. The junior teams have similar rules to the EuroLeague teams. Like it's 10-minute quarters, the rules are the same. Here in the NBA, like high school is different than college different than the NBA. And it's not the greatest for development, in my opinion. Obviously, we still have the best players in the world, but I think we could get even better if we made uniformed rules.
Oh, that's a great point. I mean, I don't know if you want to go 24-second shot clock, but certainly quarters would be interesting. And then, 8-second backcourt perhaps could be good. Yeah, all sorts of stuff that they could do. Defensive rules will be interesting. I don't think I think the NBA is going to be a unicorn in that. I don't know if anyone's ever going to replicate that. In fact, maybe the NBA just goes to what everyone else is doing and just let them play zone if they want to or not. Straight up zone without having any kind of 3 seconds. That would be an interesting thing to see. But then because again, when I was growing up, the reason why we were told they didn't have zone is because an NBA team would destroy a zone. It wouldn't be, they'd score 150 points. I don't know anymore, right? We've seen zone now, and they're a bit hybridish, but like we don't see teams completely lighting up zones all the time.
Well, I think part of the reason for that is that it's usually a new look and they're not playing zone for the entire game, right? I think if teams played zone for the entire game, NBA teams would adjust and score points in bunches against those defenses.
Yeah, that's actually interesting too. I know one NBA coach who will not be named who is an assistant right now who's like wants to play zone the entire time. But
what type of zone?
Right. Well, that's the point. He wouldn't play the same zone. He would be mixing them up, but it would be all zone all the time. And I mean, heck, I invented a new zone. You play behind a guy. I want someone to run that defense. So just kind of thinking about that. I gotta try and reconnect with all the coaches I was bothering in December to see if I can't convince anybody right now to install it. But if you're out there and you're a coach at high school, any level, email me, coachnick@bballbreakdown.com. I invented a defense that I think could revolutionize the game. So hit me up and I'll share some video of it with you. What else can we talk about? Well, obviously, let's talk about the Magic because I just did the video on that. I liked Paolo Banchero. Mm-hmm. I had been saying this whole time, you can back me up. I thought he should be picked before Chet, even like when we first started doing the show. That came true. But I got to tell you, having watched him in Summer League, and by the way, there's another interesting parallel between watching a player in Summer League and that AAU thing you're talking about as well. If you really do well in Summer League, I think that's not a bad indication of like you're on a good trajectory, right? You might do badly, but still be a really good NBA player. That can happen. But
Franz Wagner, we're talking about the Magic. He didn't have a great Summer League. He's great at that. Yeah,
right. Yeah. So that happens. But I'm telling you, when you look as good as Paolo did in those games he played for the Magic, oh my goodness gracious! I wasn't prepared. I didn't really watch any of the Summer League games live. This kid is the real deal, man. I mean, he's got size, he's got speed, like sneaky speed. He's got bounce, he's got vision. I mean, is there a weakness in his game?
I mean, defense, but a lot of young players come into the game with a lack of defensive principles. The foot speed probably isn't the greatest, but it's still really good for somebody 6'10" and at that weight, even though he slimmed down a little bit, which is probably great for his future. No, you don't see a lot of weaknesses there. One other one would be that the effortlessness from three-point range is not ideal at this moment. Like, I think that's a big difference between him and Cade. Obviously, he's a lot bigger than Cade. I think Cade shoots it more effortlessly than him from the perimeter. That's something he's got to work on, and even Franz has to work on because Franz's shot looks really smooth, but I think he could shoot at a higher volume, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's why the first thing I said about him in the video I did was that he needs to up that up from 3.4 a game, whatever it was. So he's got to double that easy. But but his Franz's jump shot looks really smooth as well. I really like it. He's got really great footwork as it is. Afro Nomo was talking about Chris Dunn had a great summer league, and you know what? With Chris Dunn, I liked him. I thought he was going to be good and could be good, but like I think he just broke down. He could not stay healthy at all. I think that messed with his confidence. And I think that might be a bigger issue. I think Chris Dunn could have been a serviceable NBA player, and who knows what's going to happen with him now. But you know what I mean. So anyway, but that's point well taken. I'm sure you can find it littered with people who played well and then never panned out. But
right, to your Polo point, like I always thought he was going to be Rookie of the Year. I thought Chet had the highest upside, and that's why I wanted the Magic to take him, or any team who had the first pick to take him, because I thought his upside was just higher than anybody else in this NBA draft. But I always had Paulo as the guy who would be impact right away, and I thought he would win Rookie of the Year no matter where he went.
Okay, well, in my opinion, that's the real deal. He'll win Rookie of the Year. He will. He looks as close to LeBron as you can without like the absolute elite, but he's got bounce, man. He has athletic ability. He accelerated with the ball down the court on a fast break that I saw. That was quick. That was fast. That wasn't completely like Derrick Rose or anything like that, but it was faster than I would have thought he could do.
Man, if he was Derrick Rose at that size.
Yeah, and he was posting up. And, so if you post, by the way, if you post up and you attack on the catch and the post up, and I've been developing a lot of moves off of this, which I'll have to get on the court and film at some point, although I did film something with it, but he did that on a baseline spin and then a reverse dunk. That was just beautiful, and it's explosive, and there's no question against at least the bottom 15 teams on the defensive side, he should eat them up. And then his passing, I knew he could pass. I knew he had feel, but like, I don't know, man. He was making passes that were just out of this world.
Great passer. He proved that over the college season. That's not the first thing people talked about going into the season with Duke, but over the course of that season, I think everybody was raving about his passing, and it was for good reason.
For sure. I mean, and by the way, what I love about it is that he's constantly just scanning the court. His head is always up, and it's kind of harder to guard those kind of guys because it kind of feels like pass. He's looking around, and all of a sudden, boom, crossover, and he's going to score on you because it looks like he just wants to pass the ball every time. Those are my favorite players.
Yeah, it is crazy because he does look like he's almost a pass-first guy the way he approaches the game, but then he has all this stuff in his ISO bag in the mid-range, and he's a really good scorer as well. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see what Paulo's tendencies are going to be at the NBA level.
For sure. And you know what? It's a nice mix of players who all can, because by the way, the thing that I was all, I hadn't gone through Franz Wagner footage. I'll admit it. I think I'm, amongst friends here. I was a little bit taken aback by how often he would bring the ball up and be a lead guard and then facilitate. So now you got a guy, and he can throw some dimes. He was throwing some no-look stuff I was catching out there. So now you got a guy like Paolo, who, when you play with a guy like that, you can back this up, I'm sure. Like, that's infectious. Guys, you want to start to get open. And then B, I think you start seeing guys throwing more passes because they kind of get into it too. And then you're going to have Franz doing that. You have, Suggs would probably rather pass than shoot it every single time. And we can get to him in a second as far as talk about athletic ability off the charts and just needing to settle down, get used to the speed, get used to how to harness his explosiveness better. And then hopefully work on his jump shot and his rhythm a little bit more. And this is why I made them the most fun team in the NBA. They might win, 35 games, and that'll be an improvement. But I suspect that they're going to end up being in a lot of games, and they're going to be a really tough out whenever they're playing. And then maybe by design, sometime, in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, be it who they're subbing in and subbing out, all of a sudden they kind of conk out and they lose that game because I think that there's probably still, incentivized here to lose and get another higher draft pick.
We talked about finishing packages earlier in this live show, and I think that's what Franz really showed he could do at the NBA level, because when I watched him play in college, he didn't have all those different kinds of Euros and same leg finishes and floaters that he now has. And to the Jalen Suggs side of things, I'm not sure he has the craft yet to become an elite NBA player. Like, I think he's not crafty enough at this point, but the athleticism is surely there. And the jump shot looks nice, but it just hasn't been going in at an elite level. So I'd like to see more craft from him. I know that's something you could work on. And the jump shot, he just needs more reps because it looks nice. It's just not going in at an efficient level.
I think it's rhythm. I think he isn't timing the arm swing up properly with the, it's not too motion, but he needs to clean up a couple of mechanics on the dip. I'm really big about the rhythm dip. It's got to be the secret is the speed of the ball going down has to equal the speed of the ball going up. And when guys catch it and bring it down early and then it sits there on their waist for a second and then it goes up into the shot, that disrupts the rhythm and the energy transfer. And I'm telling you, when I've been grooving this with guys now who, last week, a kid who was really funky mechanics, really struggled to be consistent at all. I swear in our drills was shooting like 75% from three. Now, here's the thing. People might not realize this, but when you go to a typical Division I program and you're doing the shooting drills, the shooters on the team are going to shoot 80% like minimum on those shots. They don't miss those because there's not a lot of defense. They're just doing the drills. I'm not sure people realize that. I think that people might get really impressed with that number when in reality, that's across the country. Every team at the Division I level is going to have at least 2 or 3 or 4 of those guys that can do that.
Yeah, I think most players that play at a high level at the least shoot 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 wide open from three when you're doing spot up. A lot like the shooters obviously shoot better than that, Yeah,
absolutely. So, but here's the best part about Suggs. First of all, he makes defensive plays all over the place, and he is so quick in transition getting back. Like it wasn't hard, and I wasn't looking for him to find where he would block a shot, get a steal, and then beat everybody on the court, even though he might not have been first in line to get down. But the best part about him and his game and how it complements is that he cuts a lot. He's a willing cutter. So you need to have players like that who will move without the ball when you have guys who want to handle the ball so much, like Franz or like Paolo. And so I think Paolo is lucky. He's going to a situation where there isn't necessarily, the biggest issue is going to be with Cole Anthony. How is that going to work? Because Cole likes to, pound that ball a lot. But I think he's also a very smart player and a good teammate. And I think that he's going to, there might be some growing pains there where he's going to have to figure it out. But I suspect that what he's going to figure out is that Paolo needs to be the guy with the ball most. And then let him be a secondary, let him play off of that. And I think he'll be even better than he would normally be.
I think Cole's best role is probably 6-man spark off the bench. And it's going to be interesting to see who starts on this team because Markelle Fultz will be healthy this season. Jonathan Isaac is coming back. Wendell Carter Jr., a guy that a lot of people aren't talking about. I think he's going to take a big leap this season. Super smart he's kind of like a point forward himself. Like he doesn't handle quite as well as Paolo and Franz, but he can make great decisions from the top of the key. He's great in DHOs, faking DHOs, going to the rim. He's been working on his pull-up jump shot, it seems like. And I think he's a great player. So we have him, Suggs, Markelle Fultz, Paolo, Franz Wagner. Like who's going to be the starting 5 here? Isaac?
Yeah, well, I've always loved Wendell Carter Jr. Absolutely, and you know what? He suddenly started taking threes last year. Well, the last couple of years, but we really made a jump, 3.5 a game, and he was respectable. He got almost 33%, and I would anticipate that going up a little bit higher because the team's going to be better, so his shots will be easier. They should be. And the coach, runs really good stuff too. That was another nice thing, that revelation for me was to watch what they were running. It's all modern, it's all spread, it's all motion, really good stuff to give these guys the best chance they have to shine in the roles. So, there's going to be probably 15 games of trying to get this right, and then they'll settle in better. But there's no question that Wendell Carter Jr. will start. That's Paolo, Carter, who are we talking? Franz. So we got those 3 for sure.
But then Jonathan Isaac was kind of like their main guy before all this. So that's interesting as well. And then you almost got too many bigs on the floor.
Yeah, it's hard to remember. Yeah, and by the way, Mo Bamba, another guy who was stroking it from 3. And it was because
he fits well with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I showed a whole maybe 5 or 6 in a row. Suggs would push the ball and then turn and shovel it back to him for threes. It happened like 6 or 7 times. I know it's not a lot, but that's enough. Like you don't normally see the same kind of play like that over and over again. Plus, he caught him a couple other times just by dribbling to the wing and then hitting him as a trail. So that they've got a thing going on there, and that's great to see because I know Mo Bamba was working really hard on that jumper, and it really didn't seem like it was worth it. But it looks good now. He's able to space to the top of the key and the corners, block shots, and so. They have a lot of players. It's really going to be interesting to see how the younger coach can get all the stuff, whip them up together, and without the intense experience that he has as a head coach yet. They'll all have to learn together.
And also, they got Gary Harris, Terrence Ross. Those are plus NBA players, so they're really deep.
But I'm worried because those are the guys you might be like, yeah, we got to play these guys 30 minutes a game because we want to win some games. It's like, no. Make sure that Franz is getting those minutes. Make sure that Paolo don't trim their minutes to give, And I always liked Terrence Ross, but don't give those guys too many minutes more than they need, because you want these young guys to live and learn and make mistakes and grow.
We haven't even mentioned RJ Hampton. Yeah, they're deep. They got a lot of guys.
I didn't have a lot of time. This video I could have done could have been 30 minutes. So I didn't do it, but I would easily could have done RJ Hampton. I certainly wanted to do Wendell Carter and include him because, again, he's fun. It's fun. These guys are young. You can see how excited they are to make these big plays. Like, these are all new. When they have success in the NBA, it's still the first or second or fifth or 10th time they've had success like that. It's just a fun team. Now the question, do they make the playoffs? No, right here. We see Chris in the chat. We'll send him a little link if he wants to come in. What did they finish last year? Let's see here. Orlando was 21-61. So they only won 21 games, but that was by design. I don't see them improving by 20 games. Do you?
No, I don't. And I don't think this is the year to try and make a playoff push. Just develop your own players, stay in that range where you could still get a high draft pick, and you never know. You might get Wemby.
Oh my God! Well, so then you'd have Wemby and Jonathan Isaac and
then you definitely got to make some roster moves,
I guess, or play them all together. I mean, Wembanyama can handle the ball a little bit. Just imagine that you have do this. You have Paolo, Wembanyama, Mo,
Wendell and Franz.
Isaac, and Carter.
And Franz. You forgot Franz.
But I'm looking I want taller than that. Although Wendell Carter is, because I think Franz is 6'9". I think he's listed at.
Yeah, something like that.
And by the way, Franz is also kind of dirt and rugged. When you get down there, he'll bang with you and knock you off, and then turn and spin little lefty hooks. So, like you said, he didn't do that in college, and that's really just mind blowing to me when you see a guy explode like this. Because then you have to wonder, he probably had those skills to some degree in college. You know what I mean? There's not enough time to have mastered all of that in one summer.
Yeah, it's almost like when people talked about Franz Wagner, the first thing they talked about was his defense, and he was a ball mover. They never talked about his craft in the lane, and that's one of my favorite parts about his game. Yeah,
wait, why is RJ Rain saying that RJ is gone?
He's not gone. No, yeah, he played summer league this summer with them.
Yeah, I think he's promising. I think he's got some ability. Certainly, he should, whatever. But we have our first super chat of the day from best friend of the breakdown, Braun. Thank you so much, Braun. Both Paolo and Chet got drafted into perfect situations with past first point guards. Super curious to see how Jabari does with Houston scoring guards. That is a really interesting question, because Houston's got a different dynamic, right? Some of those guys are kind of out for themselves, perhaps. I don't know. We got to find that out. What do you think?
I think Jabari could fit almost anywhere because of his ability to play defense and his ability to catch and shoot. So I think it might be a good situation for that team with the spacing that he will provide. Is he the level of prospect as a Paulo or a Chet, in my opinion? No, but I think he's going to be a really, really good NBA player.
Yeah, there's always that one guy, right, who might really, really surprise you. Is it going to be who went to the Kings? Keegan Murray. I don't think it's gonna be him, but sometimes there's that one guy maybe who's 7th or 8th or whatever who surprises you and actually is a lot better. Could be Jabari, but we'll see. Again, what my take on it with Chet. Chet, to me, I still have issues with him. I'm still worried about him, but
too skilled, Coach Nick. He's too skilled.
No, hey, listen, no one will be happier to see him do well than me.
And also, what he provides on defense, I don't think is being talked about enough. He's a difference maker around the rim, and to beat teams, if you're disrupting them around the rim, I mean, that gives you a tremendous advantage. And they had nobody like him. That's the one thing that they had. They had no type of rim protection before Chet got here. So you got no rim protection, and now you have a plus rim protector, a guy who could be, in my opinion, an all-time rim protector. And the way he fits in the modern game, pick and pop, lob threat, create in the mid-range on his own when he has to. I just think he's going to be elite, and I don't buy into he's too skinny thing. It is interesting how much he falls on the floor, because I watched him live. I was maybe one row or two rows. I would say I was like 2 rows back watching him play. He is really skinny. He does fall on the floor a lot, but he's like a really unique player, but it doesn't give me any concern.
All right, it's a long way to fall when he falls, so I'm nervous about him, and I will be, like a nervous mother, I will be nervous for a while until I see enough. But we have Chris is with us. Let's bring Chris in. What's up? Oh, he's got the shirt back on. Love it.
Yes.
What's up, Chris?
Get the shirt back on, guys. How you guys doing?
I guess this one's not this is probably the best way to do it. Wait, where's? Oh, how about that? I guess is that the best way to do this? No, we should be equal. All right. I don't like this.
There we go.
Here we go. Oh. What's up, Chris?
Nothing much. How you guys doing?
You're going off the hat today.
No hat today.
All right. All right. Yeah. So I don't know what's your take. You watch the match. Who's your team again?
My team's the Celtics, but I'm a Duke fan, so I like all guys that come out of Duke.
Now it seems like the Magic have a lot of Duke players now.
Yeah, they have a few.
So wait, who is it? So it's Paolo
and Wendell Carter.
Wendell Carter. Is that it? Where did Cole Anthony go?
He went to UNC.
Ooh, sorry.
For like half a season.
Right. We don't want to.
He was hurt. He was hurt a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you guys think about Cole Anthony? Let's talk about him for a second.
Man.
He's explosive. He may be a little too short. I don't know if he can play defense, but he's definitely a spark plug.
Yeah, you think is he a legit starter in the league?
No.
So he was just starting on a bad team.
Yeah, I don't think he could play in the finals that we just watched.
Oh, okay. Now you're talking.
Well, he could play. He would be a great 6-man.
I mean, like Jordan Poole was like struggled, right? He was getting like 14, 15 minutes a game, and he's what would you say, probably a little bit better than him offensively.
Well,
and it's like,
I think Cole decision making and efficiency has to improve. If he could improve those two things, he could definitely be a great 6-man on a winning team.
Yeah, and if you compare it to Poole's efficiency was still really good. It's just that he's still couldn't get minutes, right? He was only getting 15, 16 minutes a game.
Stephen Clay play the guard position, so
that's true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, but like like Peyton Pritchard. Okay,
he could barely.
Is Cole Anthony better than Peyton Pritchard?
Not right now. Not right now. He's more talented, but not better.
I mean, Cole Anthony averaged, 16 a game, but he shot 39% from the field.
You can't. Yeah, it's hard to compare when you're playing for the Celtics and you're playing for the Orlando Magic.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they're both pretty confident, so I'm not sure how.
Who's better? Here's a good one. Who's better, Tyler Hero or RJ Hampton? RJ, sorry, not
Tyler
RJ.
Hero.
No, not RJ Hampton. RJ Barrett.
Well, RJ's shooting throughout, especially last season, just goes up and down. The inconsistencies there. I don't know.
His defense is good. It wasn't great either. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's he's not really creative at the rim either. It's very linear. He gets a lot of charges and stuff like that. He doesn't know how to like go around people.
Right. He's not robotic.
Straight line driver. Yeah,
exactly.
I think he kind of lacks elusiveness to be one of the best player or something like that to that level.
Exactly.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
I was on a Knicks podcast or two. I have another one. All of a sudden, everyone wants to come on a Knicks podcast, but we were discussing interesting lineups. So we just went over like the Magic can go crazy big, right? With those crazy.
Which one were you on?
I don't know. One of them. I don't remember. Look at my timeline. It's in there somewhere. I don't know. Chase had me on. I don't remember where they are.
Okay. Go ahead.
Forgive me. One of them I was on like 5 years ago. That was fun to kind of reconnect with him. But I'm anyway. Sorry, I apologize. But I don't know. I can't remember. Like, let's listen. The detail I have on the basketball court is like encyclopedic in my memory. But when you have to ask me what podcast I was on 4 days ago, I'm not going to remember that. I don't know. But what I do remember is we were just talking about the Magic. Literally, why not? If you're going to win 34 games in a year, why not just play with some lineups? Play, what do we say? Paolo, Mo, Jonathan Isaac, Wendell Carter Jr., and who's the other big guy? Well, Franz isn't big enough. He's 6'9". I'm talking about like 6'11". Somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Who do you guys think will lead that team in scoring? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, right. Because probably Franz. Why not?
Yeah, I could see him. I could see it being close. I could see him getting like 18, maybe 19, and I could see Paolo getting like 17.
I think Wendell might be in the mix as well.
No,
He could.
I think he's going to take a leap this season.
Well, I mean, you're in the sense that there's probably going to be a lot of interesting, or really good penetration by the other guys, and then like here you go, and he can just get a lot of those dunks and little easy shots and stuff. Yeah, he might be the guy who shoots like 56% from the field and gets a lot of points, but I don't know if he'll lead the team. I don't know. But getting back to the Knicks thing, which is interesting, we came up. I'm like, let's go small with the Knicks then, because again, there shouldn't be any pressure for them to win a ton of games. You should go like play Obi at the center. And
if he's still on the team, right?
Why wouldn't he be in the team? Oh, they trade him. All right. Well,
yeah, for Donovan. But how do you feel about that backcourt? If they do get Donovan and Brunson in the backcourt, defensively, how does that hold up?
Well, so a lot of the Jazz fans came at me on Twitter because they listened to the pod, I guess, which is thank you. But they were very upset that I was like, I wouldn't give up more than 2 first-round picks and 2 players for Donovan Mitchell. The problem is that after Rudy Gobert gets 10 picks for him, then he wants 10 picks for Donovan Mitchell.
Now,
what?
Now with this Mike James thing, does that hurt Kevin Durant's trade market?
Well, let's in a second, but let's finish the thing. So Brunson and I don't feel great defensively about Brunson and Mitchell together. Mitchell Robinson can only do so much down there,
and he already gets in foul trouble too. So
yeah. So and how is Tibbs going to react to that when they have those guys who can't defend well enough? That's going to be a thing that's driving nuts. So that's a problem. So I don't feel great about it, but like with the Knicks, it's like they're perennially that team that can never sign the top guy. They wanted LeBron and they got Amari Stoudemire. They wanted that kind of thing. And it always seems to never quite get the guy.
Coach Nick, do you think they're what are they with those two in the backcourt? Like, what do you think the best case scenario is? They get to keep a bunch of their players, and it's Mitchell and Brunson in the backcourt. Like, what do you think the best they could be?
40. They win 44 games, which is play-in-ish, right?
It's crazy because there's Orlando Magic fans that think they're going to be a play-in team, and with Brunson and Mitchell in the backcourt, it's like we're saying that they're going to be a play-in team. So it kind of just shows you where the Magic are at.
Oh, by the way, you're right. The Magic technically have a better team than the Knicks do, right?
You think they have a better team than the Knicks with Donovan Mitchell and Brunson in the backcourt?
I think the Magic's pieces fit better. Like, how has anyone ever just think about it? Like the Knicks are more talented, right? But like the Knicks, if they do make this trade, right, they'll have who's starting, right? It'll be Brunson, Mitchell, Barrett, and Julius. All those guys are ball dominant guys, right? How is offensively, how is that going to work? And who's the best shooter out of those other than Donovan?
Not great, Bob.
Well, how about Orlando Magic? They don't have a lot of catch and shoot guys.
Well, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Franz Wagner or RJ Barrett?
Oh, Franz.
I'd have Franz.
Yeah. Right? I'm telling you, if you want to go pound for pound, even if you throw Mitchell on the Knicks.
So you guys wouldn't be surprised if you guys would have. Well, let's say Mitchell doesn't even go to the Knicks. Let's say that you guys would be. Yeah, no, I'm going to ask you guys a question. You think the Magic could have a better record this season than the Knicks?
Everything would have to play out perfect for the Magic.
Am I forgetting? Did the Knicks have an amazing year last year that I forgot about?
No, they're really bad.
So
they were really bad.
37 wins. Yeah, I mean, is there if they don't get they have Brunson. How many more wins do they get with Brunson on the team and whatever on the margins? They go from 37 to 41, right?
Well, okay. If Julius Randle plays in between what he played that All NBA season and this season, somewhere in that level, that changes things as well. He might play better than last season.
Yeah. By the way, everyone's saying Franz Wagner is 6'10". He's not. I think he's 6'9".
I think he is 6'10". I think he grew.
Really?
I think either his rookie year or the beginning of his rookie year or something. I remember seeing something like that.
So so that's the team. Then that's where they have to go. They should go Paolo, Franz at the backcourt, Mo, help me, Wendell Carter, and Jonathan Isaac. Oh my God.
Let me ask you a question, Coach Nick. Do you think there's enough collective foot speed there to keep up with NBA teams starting out with that 5?
Isn't Jonathan Isaac really quick?
He is, but he had was it ACL and what was the other thing?
Oh, so he's not.
I mean, there's a difference between 6'10" quick and when you're guarding guys who are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" quick.
Yeah, pre-injury,
right?
I would say he has a chance, but after those 2 devastating injuries, I don't.
Yeah, listen, sure. They owe it to us for us to find out. Like, I want to see that. I don't care. Find out if it doesn't work, great. But give it a couple games.
Oh know? Yeah, I wouldn't start it, but I would definitely try. I would definitely try it out, like stuff.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to score at the rim. They get every rebound. Mo can shoot threes. Franz can shoot threes. I think Paolo had a nifty step back off the dribble, right? Like that looked pretty good. I think Paolo is going to get in a situation where he probably won't take a lot of threes. He'll be running the offense in that point guard role more. So probably won't get a chance to like any catch and shoots too much. And I don't think that Paolo, I mean, listen, the one I did see in the summer league was a step back, 3 out to his left off the bounce. Like maybe he'll do that. I don't know, but
maybe it's the future of the NBA right here. Who knows?
Yeah, but yeah, Jonathan Isaac, I can't even remember him, and it's sad because he was really like legit, right? He was developing into their guy.
He was
defensively, yeah, definitely.
Oh, I feel like I can in my mind's I can picture him doing some offensive things too, right? No, am I crazy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no.
Yeah, maybe on offense. He was.
I mean,
he was kind of like he was strong enough to play down low. He had perimeter skills as well.
Yeah, he could dribble and stuff like that. I remember him when he first came out.
Like, and nobody pushed him around when he was on offense. Like he could play strong down low, like grab the rebound, put it back up. Like
he was supposed to be like 3-and-D when he came out. That's what they kind of pegged him as.
Yeah,
he's more versatile than that, though.
Yeah, he is.
He only played the 34 games in 1920. It was about 12 points a game, 34% from 3 on about 3 attempts with under 30 minutes a game. So that's that was the promise. I'm remembering it now that there were some highlights there, if I recall. Right, like he was a bad man. Like he was making guys look, sub athletic compared to him. So that's too bad. But maybe he'll come back with something. But either way, again, the Magic and the Knicks could very well be competing and having an interesting competition for who can get more wins.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Combo, what were you saying about Mike James? You said something about Mike James?
Oh, yeah. Mike James was saying how him and Durant were talking, and Durant said, we're going to lose this, so I'm going to go watch you play in EuroLeague.
Well, flesh it out. They're both competitive, and so Mike James is like, all right, when we're in the playoffs, you got to come out to Europe and watch me play. And in the beginning, KD goes, no, I'm going to be playing in my playoffs. You're going to have to come out and watch me, right? So now they're, who's going to go deeper in the playoffs. So then apparently, like you said, just before the first round started, KD calls up Mike James and goes, yeah, I'll be there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I heard, you know what? I heard people saying like it's showing that like KD's not a competitor, but people also got to understand that basketball is a team sport. Even if you're the greatest player in the world and everything else around you looks absolutely crazy and you're not up to par and you're not doing the right things on defense, like it doesn't matter if you have Michael Jordan. Like you need a team around you.
Yeah, so it's like he knew basically.
So put yourself in KD's shoes, right? Because obviously, like as a coach, you might be privy. If you're coaching a team, you might be privy to information that nobody else knows that would indicate to you, and you're never going to say it out loud, but it indicates to you, like, man, we're screwed. We can't win this series. Right. So, KD's in the same position. He's got all the information. He knows what's going on. What would that have been, right? So we know the Ben Simmons thing was falling apart. He wasn't going to play. Yeah. We know that Kyrie was back and playing.
There was no structure. I think that was the biggest thing.
There was no defensive offense and
it didn't look like it didn't look like they were an NBA. They weren't playing like an NBA basketball team. It was just like a bunch of guys going ISO, just playing kind of like pickup ball.
Well, what was the comment?
This is what Bagbots is saying. Listen, I watched what Mike James. I watched it today on Twitter. I don't know. That's what Mike James said. So I don't know if you're talking about me, but that's what Mike James said, man. All right, now I want to play the actual clip. God damn. All right, you know what? I can do that as we start to wrap up because I got to get out of here. I got to go to the Stretch Lab, guys.
The Stretch Lab.
Yep. I'll give them a free shout out. I go twice a week for 50 minutes and they stretch the SHIT out of me. And when I'm doing it on the off days, when I'm supposed to, I'm a different person, man. It's amazing.
Does it make you taller?
Yeah, well, my posture is so much better. And when I go on walks now with the dogs, I'm like so much faster than I ever used to be. So it doesn't hurt as much. It's really remarkable.
He got the big sweep.
All right, so going there. Here it is. Let me go full screen here. Let me share this because, we've got the technology to do this now. Let's do
He
this.
said,
Here's
"Thanks,
Mike
Coach."
James because Bagbroch doesn't believe me.
Hang out, kick it, play the game, talk. So we just got close. And then after that, when I went back overseas, it was like, all right, whoever season in first, the other one gonna come to watch like the playoffs. When I first said it, I thought, okay, you're gonna be in the finals. I'm gonna get to go to the finals. That's lit.
Right.
So when they was trash and they was losing, I called him one day. I was like, all right, so you know what this means, right? You're gonna come to my playoff game. He was like, there's no way I'm coming to your playoff game. And then like a week later, he called me before the playoffs started. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna be there in like a couple of weeks, dog. We finna lose.
But I had so many questions.
But I'm
Did
sure.
he
Hold
fly
on.
private?
No, that's exactly what you said.
Hey,
I mean, I guess we could go verbatim. We fit in to lose. Like,
right. And before the playoffs started, he called and said, yeah, I'm going to be there, meaning we're not going to win the first round. And I'll be go to, have a nice trip to Europe. But listen, there's nothing better than that. I would love to take a nice private plane to Europe. Actually, apparently he didn't fly private on the way there, but fly a plane to Europe,
right.
Hang out and watch playoff basketball in the EuroLeague. Holy moly, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of also shows how much of a crazy hooper KD is to like want to go watch EuroLeague. Like that's not like the first destination a lot of guys would do after their season, right? Go watch more basketball.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well,
KD's definitely a junkie.
Yeah, okay. I mean, but it's like you got your buddies, you want to hang out with them, and then like that would be amazing to like go visit with somebody in like in a different city, and then for like a couple hours you get to just sort of hang out and watch them perform on his. And by the way, Mike James is a bad man. Like that guy.
Yeah,
I think he's like if you ranked the top 500 basketball players and you put him in the NBA, he's above 250 to me.
Like, yeah, I mean, listen, I'm sure he's like a god where he plays. They worship him. I imagine he gets paid more. But, he snuck over here, and it was not an easy situation, but he did show a little bit of it in the NBA. But
well, I think he just wants I think he said it a few times in a few interviews. He just wants like a bigger opportunity. He doesn't want to like sit on the bench kind of thing.
Yeah.
The problem, it's like he's a great basketball player, but for the NBA, it's like those 3-and-D type guys and those rim riding type guys take so much of the spots because they fit around the star players in a better way. So that's part of the reason why guys who kind of like of the Mike James mold like end up overseas, even though they could be one of the best 500 players in the world.
Right. Is it Larkin? Who was the guy who was?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's as talented as Mike James, though. But
I know, but he looks like freaking Michael Jordan in EuroLeague, right?
Oh, he's so much faster than everyone.
And to be fair, there's guys who struggle in EuroLeague that played in the NBA, So it's just a different sport. Yeah.
Sergio Rodriguez never did, what I thought he would have been, in NBA because for Madrid. But listen, I got to go. The stretch is calling me.
We got to say,
go ahead.
We got to say, rest in peace, Bill Russell. He was on the thumbnail, and
I know we didn't talk about him. Well, you know what? It's a sad thing, but the guy lived a long life, and probably in terms of a basketball world, like had the most enriching experience I'd imagine anybody would have ever had. Not always easy, by the way. I mean, that guy endured racism. That and he lived at a time. That's the other thing, right? He spanned a time frame of like from the absolute worst times here to whatever they are now, and just an incredible guy. I listen. I was a huge Miami Vice fan. He was in Miami Vice. Like that was a big thing for me in the 80s. So I want to shout out to that performance, and it was good as a judge.
Yeah.
So
you can make the argument he's the greatest winner to ever play in the NBA, the best player on a championship team for 11 championships. I know there's people that'll say like the competition wasn't the same, but he played against the guys who were in front of him. He can't change that. That's who he played against.
And someone had a great highlight clips that I kind of forgot. My memory before I watched it was that he was a little bit awkward, not great. Like he had hands, but like he was just kind of awkward, the lefty and the weird hooks. But I watched it again with a different eye, and I'm like, you know what? No, I do see,
more grace, right?
Graceful, it's not like stiff is the right word, but there's a bit of a stiffness there, but like graceful and fast. That's the other thing. People don't remember Will Chamberlain he was just as fast, if not faster, and even taller. That same body type for the first part of his career. So, anybody wants to say that they didn't have athletes back then is insane. Okay, a few of the guys back then were not athletes in the NBA, but Wilt and Russell were enough to make that point. And there are at least 4 or 5 other guys that were in that class, at that size that they had to play against. And they remember they played each team like 8 times a year. It wasn't even like it was now. So, Anyway,
Right.
so yes, absolutely. Rest in peace, Bill. They called him Russ, but we can't use that now, I guess, because Russ is the other Russ. But nonetheless, but I gotta go. I don't want to. But thank you guys for coming. Great show. Like, this is a Tuesday afternoon show in the middle of the beginning of August, and look at that. Hey, look at us. Who would have thought?
He gets it.
So much here. You guys don't want to finish that? Did you guys find the meme? Hey,
no, you told us about it. Yeah,
not me.
No, I know the meme.
All right. All right.
Well, enjoy your stretch. Enjoy your stretch, Coach Nick.
I will. And stay away from COVID as much as you can.